Have you ever been wrongly accused of something you didn't do? Imagine dedicating your entire life to honesty and hard work, only to have it all questioned in a single moment. This isn't just a story about injustice, it's about resilience, truth, and the unexpected heroes among us. Stay with us, because what happens next will restore your faith in doing the right thing. Now, let's meet Marcus, a man whose quiet courage changed everything. Marcus, a 43-year-old security guard, has been working at a bustling shopping mall for years. Calm and meticulous, he has earned the affection of the staff and regulars who pass by, always with a friendly smile and warm words. But there's one person who doesn't share this fondness: his new manager, Raymond. Raymond, who has recently taken over the mall's operations, believes Marcus is outdated and lazy, often criticizing him for his slow pace and lack of ambition. Marcus's life outside of work is equally demanding. He lives with his wife, who has a chronic illness, and their teenage son, who is currently in high school. Despite the challenges, Marcus remains a pillar of support for his family. His son, struggling to find his place in the world, often hears his father's advice: work hard and be honest, that's the right way to live. Marcus's approach to life is humble but filled with an unwavering sense of duty. He doesn't seek recognition, but the people around him see a man who quietly carries his burdens with grace. But little did he know, the day would come when his integrity would be put to the ultimate test, one that would shake his world to the core. It was an ordinary Wednesday afternoon when the calm of the mall was shattered. A report came in from one of the high-end phone stores: an expensive piece of equipment had gone missing. The store's security footage was grainy and unclear, offering little in the way of a solid lead. The footage did show a shadowy figure near the area of the theft, and by coincidence, Marcus had been patrolling close to the store just moments before the incident. Raymond, the new manager, immediately jumped to conclusions. His mistrust of Marcus had been brewing for weeks, and now he had what he considered the perfect opportunity to rid himself of the old guard who he thought was no longer useful. The camera footage, though blurry, showed Marcus in the vicinity of the crime. With no concrete evidence but fueled by suspicion, Raymond took swift action. He didn't even consider the possibility that Marcus might be innocent. Without consulting anyone or taking time to investigate further, Raymond made the decision to suspend Marcus. He called him into his office with a stern look on his face. Marcus, having seen the tension building between him and Raymond over the past few weeks, could feel something was off as soon as he entered. Raymond looked him in the eye and, without a trace of hesitation, announced that he was being suspended due to reasonable suspicion. Marcus was stunned. He tried to explain, but Raymond cut him off, insisting the decision was final. With a heavy heart, Marcus didn't argue. He simply nodded, knowing that fighting back might make things worse. Instead, he quietly walked out of the office, his mind racing. What had just happened? How could he be accused of something he didn't do? He had always prided himself on his honesty and his commitment to his job. As he walked through the mall's quiet halls on his way out, his thoughts kept racing. Marcus wasn't angry, he was confused. The pain wasn't from the suspension itself, it was the injustice. He had worked here for years without incident, always doing his job with dedication. And yet, in an instant, everything he had built was questioned by someone who barely knew him. In the car on the way home, he tried to put it all behind him, but he couldn't shake the sense of betrayal. His wife, noticing the distress on his face, asked what had happened, but Marcus simply smiled and shrugged it off, telling her he would be okay. The truth, though, was that he felt completely helpless. Meanwhile, Raymond, satisfied with his decision, Didn't he even consider that there might be more to the story? He had no idea that in the coming days, a twist of fate would reveal the truth in a way he never expected. As the days passed, the mall returned to its usual rhythm, but Marcus's life was far from normal. He spent the days at home, trying to keep busy with small tasks around the house, but his thoughts always returned to what had happened. The silence from the mall, the confusion, and the lingering injustice weighed heavily on him. What troubled him most was how easily he had been dismissed, without anyone asking him his side of the story. It wasn't until a few days later that the truth began to surface in the most unexpected way. The phone store where the theft had occurred received a call from the mother of a young girl who had been at the mall that afternoon. She shared a powerful message that would change everything. The mother explained that her daughter had gotten separated from her while shopping. The child had wandered away, confused and scared, and in her panic, she began running through the crowd, desperately searching for her mom. It was Marcus, the security guard whom no one thought twice about, who had noticed the little girl. When the footage was reviewed, it became clear that Marcus had done something extraordinary in that brief moment. Instead of following his routine, Marcus had abandoned his post at the security desk to help the frightened child. He guided the girl safely through the mall, shielding her from the bustling crowd, and led her straight to the mall's management office. There, he immediately used the intercom to announce that a child had been found and needed to be reunited with her mother. His actions were not only selfless, but he had done them without hesitation. Unfortunately, none of this had been documented or mentioned in the initial incident reports. The management, distracted by the theft and quick to make judgments, had never thought to ask if there were any other unusual circumstances that might have affected Marcus's whereabouts. The footage showing Marcus walking alongside the girl was blurred, making it impossible to tell what was truly happening. But the mother's post on social media, praising Marcus for his kindness, changed everything. Her heartfelt words went viral, and soon, the story was picked up by local news outlets. The online praise and media attention forced the management's hand, as the truth about Marcus's actions was laid bare for all to see. Raymond, who had so confidently assumed Marcus's guilt, was now faced with an uncomfortable reality. His rash decision to suspend Marcus without proper investigation had not only damaged an innocent man's reputation but had also ignored the true spirit of what being a security guard was all about. The media storm brought more eyes to the situation, and as the story spread, many began to question how Raymond had handled the matter. Marcus, meanwhile, stayed silent, knowing that sometimes, the truth has a way of revealing itself in its own time. The revelation that Marcus had gone above and beyond his duties to help the lost child sparked a wave of public support that spread like wildfire. The story, shared across social media platforms, painted a portrait of a man who had quietly put others before himself for years, never seeking the spotlight. People who had interacted with Marcus at the mall began to come forward with their own stories, each recounting his helpfulness and the warmth with which he treated everyone, regardless of their status or position. As the story gained traction, the mall's management found themselves under intense scrutiny. The council that oversaw operations at the mall was forced to confront the error that had been made. The more they investigated, the more they realized that their decision to suspend Marcus had been hasty and based on little more than a biased assumption. They had overlooked the possibility that Marcus, the dedicated and humble man they had known for years, could have been the one to offer assistance in a critical moment. For Raymond, the situation was even more complicated. His reputation was now in jeopardy, and he was publicly criticized for acting without fully understanding the facts. People began questioning his leadership style, his eagerness to judge, and the way he treated employees without taking the time to understand them. The fallout was swift, with many questioning if he was fit to manage the team in such a delicate environment. When the council convened to discuss the matter, they invited Marcus back to the mall for a meeting. It wasn't just about reviewing the incident, it was about making things right. The council, now fully aware of Marcus's good deeds, wanted to offer him an apology. They were determined to correct the mistake, and they were prepared to restore his reputation. Raymond, on the other hand, was not invited to the meeting. His behavior had already been deemed inappropriate, and the board knew that any further involvement from him could only make things worse. The board members called Marcus in to express their regret, recognizing that they had failed to consider the full picture. They told Marcus that not only would he be reinstated, but they were also offering him a promotion. They wanted him to take on a more prominent role as the head of security, something that reflected the respect they now had for him and his character. Marcus, despite the whirlwind of emotions swirling around him, remained composed. He wasn't interested in revenge or making a spectacle out of the situation. Instead, he focused on the future, his family's needs, and the knowledge that he had always done the right thing. The board's decision to offer him the promotion wasn't just a response to public pressure, it was a genuine recognition of his loyalty, integrity, and selflessness. As the board members shook his hand and apologized once again, Marcus couldn't help but feel a quiet satisfaction. He had stayed true to his values, and in the end, the truth had prevailed. He wasn't seeking accolades, but the acknowledgement was appreciated. For Marcus, the lesson was clear: sometimes doing the right thing doesn't bring immediate reward, but when the time is right, the truth will shine through, and it will bring the recognition it deserves. The apology from the council wasn't the only surprise Marcus received that day. As he sat across from the board members, absorbing the gravity of their words, something unexpected happened. They didn't just offer him his job back. The recognition of his actions, his calm in the face of adversity, his willingness to help others without seeking attention had led them to a much bigger decision. Marcus was being offered a promotion, something he had never imagined in his years as a security guard at the mall. "Marcus, your actions were beyond what any of us could have hoped for in a situation like that," said one of the board members, a woman with a kind face who had been deeply moved by the viral story. "You're more than just a guard to this mall. You're the kind of person who makes a real difference." The offer was simple yet monumental: the role of security supervisor, a position with greater responsibility, a higher salary, and a more prestigious standing within the organization. It wasn't just about moving up the ranks, it was a public recognition of Marcus's unwavering dedication to his work, his community, and his values. Marcus, still processing the whirlwind of events, was taken aback. A part of him had always been content with his position as a security guard. He didn't work for the recognition, and he certainly never thought of climbing the corporate ladder. His job, to him, was about protecting people, ensuring the mall was a safe space for families, workers, and shoppers alike. He had always worked with a sense of purpose, not ambition. Yet, the offer wasn't just a promotion, it was an opportunity to lead, to be the guiding force in a department that had lost its way under the watch of Raymond. It was a chance to implement his values, to ensure that no one else would be unjustly accused or treated without respect. Marcus could now influence the entire security team, fostering a culture of empathy, fairness, and honesty. He knew he could make the mall a better place, not just for the people who worked there, but for the thousands of visitors who came each day. "I'm humbled," Marcus replied, after a long pause. But I've never sought anything beyond doing my job right. If this is the direction you think I can be most effective, then I'll gladly take it. I'm here to do what's best for this place." With that, the offer was officially extended, and Marcus's new role was confirmed. His promotion was not just a victory for him, it was a sign of a larger change in the air. The board understood that the mall needed more than just efficient operations, it needed integrity, compassion, and a genuine concern for the people it served. And Marcus was the one who could bring that to the forefront. As Marcus left the meeting, the weight of his new responsibility settled on his shoulders. It wasn't just a new title, it was a symbol of the growth he had undergone in this process, the humility with which he had handled the situation, the way he had stayed true to his values, had paid off not in fame, but in a new opportunity to make a tangible difference. As he drove home that evening, he couldn't help but smile. It wasn't about the promotion, the recognition, or the new title. It was about knowing he had done the right thing, and that was the most fulfilling reward of all. The days following Marcus's promotion were both challenging and rewarding. As he settled into his new role as security supervisor, it became evident that the job required more than just managing the security team. It required leadership, foresight, and a deep sense of responsibility. The position gave Marcus the power to shape how the security team operated and how the mall interacted with its patrons. But it also placed him in the spotlight in ways he wasn't used to. Initially, Marcus struggled with the shift in dynamic. He was no longer just a man doing his job, he was now the face of security at the mall, a representative of the institution. He had always preferred the quiet, behind-the-scenes role where he could go about his work without drawing attention to himself. Yet, the events that had transpired had made him a symbol of integrity, and the mall was now relying on him to guide others with that same sense of decency. His first challenge came in the form of his relationship with his team. As the new supervisor, he had to manage a group of individuals who had grown accustomed to Raymond's strict, often impersonal style of management. Many of the security officers were skeptical of Marcus's approach, seeing his calm demeanor and empathetic nature as signs of weakness. They were used to commands and structure, but Marcus knew that real leadership was about building trust, not demanding respect. He spent the first few weeks not only learning the ins and outs of his new responsibilities but also getting to know his team members. He took the time to listen to their concerns, understand their challenges, and provide the support they needed to feel valued. He organized team-building activities and encouraged open communication, making sure his officers felt like they were part of something bigger than just a job. It wasn't always easy. Some officers, still loyal to Raymond, resisted his methods, feeling that Marcus was too soft or unwilling to enforce strict discipline. But Marcus, staying true to his beliefs, held firm in his approach. Over time, his team began to see the benefits of his leadership. They started to trust him not just as their boss, but as someone who genuinely cared about their well-being and success. Marcus also became more confident in his abilities. His growth as a leader wasn't just about how well he managed others, but how he managed himself. He learned to navigate the pressures of the job, balancing his responsibilities at the mall with the needs of his family. He took more initiative, made decisions with greater conviction, and, most importantly, he embraced the fact that he was now a role model not just to his team, but to the entire mall community. But the most profound change occurred in his relationship with his son. Marcus's son had always been proud of his father, but the events that had unfolded gave him a new level of respect. Watching his father navigate the storm with grace, seeing him step into his new role with integrity, helped his son realize that being a good person wasn't just about doing the right thing, it was about standing by your principles, no matter the cost. During a quiet evening at home, as Marcus and his son sat together, his son turned to him with a sincere smile and said, "Dad, I get it now. You were right. Doing the right thing, even when no one's looking, is what really matters." In that moment, Marcus realized that his growth wasn't just professional, it was personal. He had not only become a better leader but also a better father, teaching his son the most important lesson of all: integrity and kindness are worth more than any promotion or recognition. As the months passed, Marcus settled into his new role with a quiet confidence that resonated throughout the mall. His leadership was evident in every corner of the shopping center, from the way his security team interacted with the public to the increased sense of safety and warmth that customers now felt when they walked through the doors. The transformation was subtle but powerful, and it didn't go unnoticed. People who had previously seen Marcus as just another old security guard began to recognize the strength in his character. He wasn't just doing a job, he was creating a culture of integrity and compassion. Customers started to approach him, not just to ask for directions or help with lost items, but to thank him for his role in making the mall a place they could feel at ease in. His calm, reassuring presence had become a symbol of trust and reliability. The change in Marcus was also apparent in his family life. His relationship with his wife had grown stronger as he took on more responsibilities at work, but he made sure not to lose sight of what truly mattered: being there for his family. Marcus had always worked hard to provide, but now he was working even harder to be a present, engaged father. He made more time for his son, attending his school events, helping with homework, and sharing life lessons that went beyond what was taught in textbooks. One evening, as Marcus sat on the couch with his son, watching a game together, his son turned to him and said, "I'm proud of you, Dad. You're the best role model I could ever ask for." Marcus's heart swelled with pride, not from the recognition, but because he had lived up to the values he had instilled in his son: honesty, hard work, and the importance of doing what's right, even when it's difficult. Then came a moment that truly defined Marcus's growth. The mall held a special ceremony in his honor, something he had never expected. They presented him with an award, not for his long years of service, but for the extraordinary example he had set as a leader and a man of integrity. As he stood in front of his colleagues, friends, and family, Marcus couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought him to this point. He spoke humbly, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "I never expected any of this," he said, looking at the people who had gathered. "But I've learned that sometimes doing the right thing, even when no one is watching, can change everything. I didn't do what I did for recognition, I did it because I believe that we all have a responsibility to make the world a better place, no matter how small our actions may seem." The applause that followed was not just for the man who had been promoted or the man who had helped a lost child, it was for the man who had stayed true to his values, and in doing so, had transformed not just his own life, but the lives of those around him. Marcus's story was a reminder that integrity, kindness, and dedication are the true measures of success. And in a world that often feels like it's moving too fast and too recklessly, Marcus showed that doing the right thing, quietly and without fanfare, can make a lasting impact. Marcus's journey teaches us a powerful lesson about integrity and the quiet power of doing what is right, even when no one is watching. His story shows that actions speak louder than words. Marcus didn't seek recognition for helping the lost girl or for standing up for what he believed in. He acted because it was the right thing to do. In a world where people often rush to judgment and seek personal gain, Marcus's commitment to honesty and hard work proves that doing the right thing without the expectation of rewards often leads to the most fulfilling outcomes. His actions remind us that integrity isn't always about grand gestures, but about consistently choosing what's right, even in the smallest moments. In real life, Marcus's example can inspire us to approach our daily interactions with honesty, kindness, and integrity. Whether in our personal relationships, work environments, or in our communities, we all have opportunities to make choices that reflect our values. When we choose to act with integrity, we build trust and respect with others. Like Marcus, we may not always see immediate rewards for our actions, but in the long run, living authentically and helping others will always lead to a more fulfilling and impactful life. By making small, positive choices every day, we can create a ripple effect of goodness in the world. If this story touches your heart, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more inspiring real-life stories. Share this video with someone who needs a reminder that doing the right thing always matters. And leave a comment below. Have you ever faced a moment where you had to stand by your values, even when it was hard? We'd love to hear your story.